Good day to everybody. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ is Lord. Amen. And let's not waste no time. Let's get right into it, y'all. Today we will be discussing the 81 Rockets and the 86 Rockets. Who do you think was the better team? The 81 Rockets or the 86 Rockets? Okay. So, the 81 Rockets, they had Moses Malone, Billy Paultz, Calvin Murphy, Rudy T, who would later coach the Rockets to 2 World Championships, Tom Henderson, Bill Willoughby, Robert Reed, Allen Level, Calvin Garrett, Mike Dunleavy, Major Jones, Lee Johnson, John Stroud. That was the 81 team. And so the 81 team went 40-42. And the playoff system back in 81 was what it was today. Is not what it is today. Teams could actually have a first round bye, okay? And the playoff series back in 1981, first round series, was best of 3, not best of 5. And so you could actually win a playoff series 2-1 back in the 1981. You could actually win a first round playoff series 2-1. Okay. And so the Lakers, who had won the championship the year before in 1980, they were in chaos in 1981. Magic Johnson missed 37 games that season. He hurted his knee. He had a knee injury. Magic missed 37 games that year. Lakers still won 54. Lakers still won 54 games that season. And they were matched up against the Houston Rockets. And Houston took that series 2-1. And Houston was seen as a slow-moving, plodding team, which they were because Moses Malone, the all-star center, they had to slow it down had to slow it down for him to accommodate Moses Malone's skills. He was a beast back then, Moses Malone. Rest in peace. He was a beast. And that was young Moses. So he was really dominant. He was still dominant at that time. And so they beat the Lakers 2-1. And they upset the San Antonio Spurs. They upset the San Antonio Spurs in the second round. I think Calvin Murphy scored 42 points in the deciding game. Calvin Murphy scored 42 points in the deciding game. That helped the Rockets advance to face the Kansas City Kings, who had upset the top-seeded Phoenix Suns. So I think at that time, back in 1981, the first two teams that were in the conference finals, Western Conference Finals, both were 40-42. Okay. Yeah, 40-42 Houston versus 40-42 Kansas City. Okay. Rockets won in 5 games. And so they ran into the Boston Celtics, of course, who had finished with the best record in the league. Lost to the Celtics in 6 games. But the 2 times that the Lakers did not appear in the NBA Finals, who was the team that knocked them out both times? The 81 Rockets and the 86 Rockets. Yeah, so the Rockets are the only team that prevented the Lakers from reaching the finals out of the West all 10 years, okay? Because either year it was either Boston or LA. I mean, let's see, the one year that the Celtics, the Philadelphia had their year in 1983. Ironically, after Houston traded Malone, or Moses Malone signed with Philadelphia, so to speak. So Philadelphia won their title in 1983, but other than that, it was just either Boston or LA. And the Rockets were able to interrupt that. But both times they ran into the Boston Celtics. So both times they ran into the Boston Celtics. And so, fast forward to 1986. Different team, different coach, different circumstances. Dale Harris was the coach for the 81 Rockets. Yes, that same Dale Harris who coached Shaq and Kobe. Yes, that Dale Harris. Rudy Tomjanovich, who was a player back then, he was now an assistant coach of the head coach, who was Bill Fitch of the 86 Rockets. Okay. And the 86 Rockets consisted of Hank McDowell, John Lucas, Rodney McCray, Jim Peterson, Granville Waiters, Mitchell Wiggins, Louis Lloyd, Steve Harris, Craig Elo. And then, of course, we have the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers. Hakeem and Ralph. Which I don't understand why Ralph Sampson's Houston jersey is not a hardwood classic. They have Elijah one, but they ain't got Sam Hampson. Come on, man. Really? Really? Come on, y'all. Anyway, so after the 81 finals, Houston went 46-36 the following year. Moses Malone was an MVP, got kicked out of the first round by the Seattle Supersonics. And Malone signs with Philadelphia. They win a championship. The Rockets. Lord have mercy. You talk about a full tank. 17-65 that year was their record. 17-65 was that record. Was the record that year? If memory serves me correct. 17-65. So they were bad that year. That just goes to show you how much losing Moses Malone really hurt. Okay? Just goes to show you how much losing Moses Malone really hurt. So the Rockets tanked that year. They got Ralph Sampson in 83, and Bill Fitch was the coach, was the new coach. So they get Ralph. They improved to 29 wins in 1984. Sampson won Rookie of the Year. Then there are some people who believe they actually tanked the last game of the season against the Kings because Dick Motta, who was the coach at the time, was actually doubting the effort of the Rockets, the final game of the season. And of course, the famous 84 draft where they take Hakeem. And also you had teams around the league. Not all teams, but quite a few teams in the NBA started to emulate what the Rockets were doing. Oh, you got Sampson and Olajuwon? Okay. felt like, I guess New York felt we had to have Cartwright and Ewing, forming the Twin Hand Towers. Bill Cartwright and Patrick Ewing played together for a few years, before Cartwright was traded to Chicago in '88. But there were teams around the league who were saying, "Oh, we got to have two big men. We got to have two big men. We got to have two big men." The Celtics already had that. You had Parrish and Akel. But teams were actually emulating what the Rockets were doing. Teams were actually emulating what the Rockets were doing. And that 86 season, it kind of all came together. They improved to 48 wins in 85. Got kicked out of the first round by the Utah Jazz. But in 86, everything came together. I would say John Lucas, the point guard for that team, and a very critical piece of the team, was suspended for drug abuse, repeated drug violations. And so Robert Reed, who was one of the players on the 81 team, he was coming off the bench behind Lucas. And when Lucas got suspended, they shifted Reed to starting point guard. Okay. So they shifted Reed to starting point guard. And they won 51 games that year. Rockets won 51 games that year. Eliminated the now Sacramento Kings in the first round. Kicked the Denver Nuggets out in 6 games. And guess who they come up against? The Los Angeles Lakers. And LA won game 1 pretty easily. But after that, it's just like the Rockets took over. The Rockets completely took over. They won game 2, won game 3, won game 4. And of course, the famous shot where that famous shot by Ralph Sampson that they show over and over thousands of times. The famous shot, and Michael Cooper just kind of lays on the ground like, oh, what just happened? People don't know. Well, probably a few people don't know. Probably only basketball junkies know that Hakeem Olajuwon was actually suspended. Olajuwon was ejected for fighting. He got into a fight with Mitch Kupchak. At that time, and he was suspended. I done butchered it again. He was ejected. My apologies. And so, but Ralph Sampson was playing pretty well, and he carried them. And they run into the Boston Celtics again, who pretty much had the same core of players. Bird, Mikael Parrish was still there, but you had Danny Ainge, you had Dennis Johnson, you had Bill Walton. You had Rick Carlisle, I believe, was on that team. Scott Wedman. Casey Jones was the head coach. And also had a guy by the name of David Thirdkill. Sam Van Henson was on that Celtic team as well. And so it's just unfortunate that they ran into the Boston Celtics every time. Okay. They ran into the Boston Celtics. Houston was a bit more competitive in the 86 series, I think. Houston was a bit more competitive in the 86 series, I think. The series went to 6 games. But Bird, Mikael Parrish, DJ, Danny Ainge, no, that was just, well, that was too much for them. And it was during the '87 season that things started to go south for the Rockets. Wiggins and Lloyd were suspended for drug violations. Sampson wasn't injured. He gets traded 15 games into the '87-'88 season, and that pretty much left Olajuwon pretty much alone to carry the load. And he was pretty unhappy in Houston for a stretch of years there. I know his supporting cast slowly improved. Otis Thorpe arrived in 1989. Vernon Maxwell arrived in 1990. Kenneth Smith arrived in 1991. Rudy Tomjanovich became head coach in 1992. Robert Horry arrived in 1992. Sam Cassell, Mario Elie came in 1993, and it pretty much just all came together in 1994 and 1995 when they went back to back. So yeah, I would have loved to seen the '80s Rockets win one championship. It's just the unfortunate thing that they ran into the Boston Celtics, who were a far superior team each time. Okay. Yeah, they ran into that monster that was called Boston. So, yeah, I would love to see the '80s Rockets win a championship. But they did win championships, but in the '90s. But it would have been cool to see the '80s Rockets win a championship. All right, this has been Thrown It Back with Sean Farrell. Gonna be bringing y'all more content. Have a blessed, tranquil, peaceful weekend. I will see you all on the next one. Peace out, y'all.